Hey guys, my name is Charvay. Today I will be going over chapter 5 in Sidman's book, Coercion is Fallout. It's called On Becoming a Shock. So in the introduction, Sidman is just basically talking about revenge and how it pretty much still exists today, even though it's still frowned upon and it's often illegal. So, people are killing others and abusing others and, doing things like that, like vandalism. People are still engaging in those type of behaviors just to get back at others. So he was talking about how it's a lot of closed-minded people and they're pretty much like stuck in their old ways. So they have the mindset that if you do something to me, then I'm going to do something to you. So for example, you broke up with me, so now I'm going to smash all of your car windows. And, people think of revenge like that. Sidman also mentions that people today believe that punishing undesirable behaviors will make people change and engage in more desirable behaviors, but this is not always the case. Punishment doesn't affect everybody the same way, and so just because you think it's going to change, it doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. So you just have to find another method to deal with that behavior to make it decrease and increase those more desirable behaviors. Next, he gets to talk about the side effects. So pretty much he was saying that non-coercive methods are not easy to do. You have to find a way to change the behavior without using punishment or coercion. And, he talks a little bit about that in the chapter. And so then he goes into talking about consequences of punishment. So basically, when it comes to the consequences of punishment, they hurt more than they help. And, the cons outweigh the pros. So there are more bad things than there are good. And this is the reason why our social systems have issues and, why we experience some of the things that we do. Also in this section, he talks about the Code of Hammurabi. And basically, he's just, talking about the history of, how things came about. And so the code basically said that physicians would lose something if they caused a patient to lose something. So, for example, say a physician was doing a surgery or had finished a surgery and the patient lost an ear. So if that physician caused that ear to be lost, then that physician would lose their ear as well. And so this led to physicians avoiding situations and people avoiding situations altogether. And, a lot of people suffered in pain because of that fear of punishment. They didn't want to mess up and, have to lose something of theirs because of their mistake. So that's basically what the code was. So next he gets into how punishments are made. And basically, if punishment is not a result of certain situations, then we say it's not normal. And, it's basically us saying that there's some other reason why a certain situation happened. And we basically make excuses to sugarcoat the actual situation. And so situations that cause us pain or harm should be punishers. And, the next thing he talks about is condition punishers, which he spends a great deal of time talking about. So the concept is that another situation makes us stop engaging in a certain behavior. And he continues to talk about people's behaviors and how people behave in different ways based on the situation. So, for example, you are slacking at work today because your supervisor is not there. Now, it could be the opposite. You're focused on work. You're getting all your work done. You're not using your phone. You're not letting anything get to distract you. And because your supervisor is there. So, your supervisor is there. So, you're going to be on top of your stuff. And so, that's basically what he was saying of how people behave in different ways based on, what's going on in the environment. And he also talks about if a reinforcer is the likely consequence, then we engage in behavior. So, if it's something good coming out of it, then, 9 times out of 10, we're going to do it. Now, on the other side, if a punisher is the likely consequence, then we're not going to engage in the behavior. And, if there's something that bad that may come out of it, then we're probably not going to do it. And what helps us determine how we will respond are signals. So there are signals that could act as punishers or reinforcers in certain situations. So next he goes into the significance of conditioned punishment. So this section is kind of short. He's just basically finishing it up. So he's just talking about whatever events led to punishment or lead to punishment become punishers themselves. So what he was basically saying, this is my example. Say a boy was bullying a younger kid. So the next time that younger kid is going to see that older boy, he's going to avoid him if possible. Now, there are certain situations where a bully is a bully and they're going to find you and they're going to get you. But, if he sees him first and he can avoid him, then he's going to go the other way because of that conditioned punishment. He also talks about how conditioned punishment is a toxic side effect of punishment. And that goes back to the code and talking about how people avoid certain situations in certain environments and things like that. And so basically what he talks about is as coercion increases, so will conditioned punishment. And that's just not good. He also talks about the social environment. So he basically was saying that the social environment is the main source of conditioned punishment. So he ends with just talking about the most important thing that he thinks that we should take from this whole idea. And so the thing is that people who use punishment should become conditioned punishers themselves. So going back into the example with the bully, that bully is going to become a conditioned punisher himself. And so, yeah. So for the discussion questions, question number 1. Can you think of some conditioned punishers that can apply to your daily life or conditioned reinforcers? This could be home life, work life, any type of environment or however way you want to answer it. I just am interested in what you guys can come up with, just different examples. And also, if you were living back in the day when the Code of Hammurabi was in effect, would you take the risk of making a mistake if you were a physician to save other people, or would you avoid it and save yourself? So, I was talking about how the Code of Hammurabi was saying that, if a physician messed up and, caused the patient to lose something, they would lose something as well. So basically, why or why not would you avoid or approach that situation if you were living in that time? So that is it. And I will also post these questions with my video just to make things a little bit easier for you to answer. I hope you guys enjoyed my summary, and I hope everything was clear and I gave good examples to help you guys out. I really look forward to reading your responses and just talking more about this in the discussion. So thank you very much for watching.